Hello, welcome back to the GG Royal Ascot preview. I've still got my faithful two ball with me, Andrew Mount and Kevin O'Malley, and we're going to discuss the 2-year-old races. Never totally easy, but I know, Kev, you've got a good record with spotting some good 2-year-olds in your time. I know that much. And I think you're going to lead us through, starting with Tuesday, the Coventry Stakes.
Yeah, always a cracking contest. Obviously, we want to see how these fields form before
Calix won it last year.
Yeah, and he's going to go for the Commonwealth Cup, I think, is he? Or is
No,
he's out. He's out. Yes, he's out.
Sorry.
Yeah, of course he is.
Sorry.
But yeah. Okay, so the Coventry Stakes. There's one called Siskin, trained by Dermot Weld, and I think he'd be the best Irish hope if Cal had. Oh, sorry, it's Ger Lyons, yeah. Ger Lyons has said that he wants to keep him back for the Railway Stakes, but maybe his owner will get the last say in that. So if he did turn up, I think he'd be the chief Irish hope, Siskin.
Nice price as well, that.
Yeah, he's a really big, powerful colt by First Defence. I was really impressed with him. He was still very green as well last time out, but he ran up to an RPR of 104, clocked a very good speed figure to boot, and he's an exciting one. Arizona, Aidan O'Brien.
Tops the bill.
He finished second to Sunday Sovereign on his debut, and he followed that up with a quite brilliant performance, really, at the Curragh last time out. He won that by about 8 lengths. He's a very tall, athletic horse, and he looks every inch a Coventry type. Ventura Rebel as well for Richard Fahey. He beat Lady Pauline last time out. He caught the eye when he won at Thirsk first time out, and he looks like the type that's just steadily progressing, and you can never discount a Richard Fahey juvenile from any of these races. But the one I'm really, really interested in is Threat, trained by Richard Hannon. Now, it was quite a rare debut, really. All of Richard Hannon's juveniles seem to be coming on for their first runs, you know. He went off at 10-1 against a Godolphin horse who'd had a run on him already. And, he won really, really well, and in a bloody good time as well. He ran up to an RPR of 94, backed up by a top speed figure of 90. It's very rare that you see a top speed figure that good on debut, and that generally denotes Group 2, Group 1 potential. That was over 5 furlongs for Threat, but I think he'll step up in trip. I think he'll be better over 6 furlongs. It's just whether or not that debut was an anomaly, you know.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't, I think Threat would be just about my pick in the race. I think he's the most interesting of the ones I mentioned.
Yeah, I wonder when the last Richard Hannon Royal Ascot winner was, but no, I quite like it. Quite like it. Norfolk Stakes.
Yeah,
Thursday.
The one
5 furlongs.
The one I really like there is Sunday Sovereign for trainer Paddy Toomey. He's an up-and-coming trainer.
To me, to you.
That's the one. He's a very, very shrewd operator, this man. He's had 98 runners so far, 24 winners, right? 26 have come second or third, and a further 29 have come fourth or fifth from his first 98 runners. I can't think of any trainer that's done anything like that before. And on top of that, he's got a lot of rising stars as well in his stable. He had a third in the Irish 2000 Guineas Decrypt. He'd probably go for the St James's Palace. But
and Sunday Sovereign being the star in the stable.
Well, possibly. He's owned by King Power, so he's got powerful connections. He's a Equiano colt, and he's a proper racy juvenile. Got loads of speed. He beat Arizona by 3 lengths to land his maiden first time out. That horse we mentioned as a lively player for the Coventry. And last time out at Tipperary in a listed race, Sunday Sovereign just looked brilliant. The way that he quickened up and put that race to bed was just, a joy to behold, really. As I say, he's a really racy, speedy juvenile, and I think he's just made for that Norfolk Stakes, and I think he'll win.
That's it. That's exactly what we want. Exactly, and don't stop there.
Well, the Chesham Stakes, again, I really want to see how this Chesham field forms. But I think probably the horse they have to beat is Pinatubo. He made a promising but low-key kind of start at Wolverhampton. Wasn't particularly good on the clock, so it wasn't really. He was very well backed at Epsom to win the Woodcut, but it was hard to know exactly how his form from Wolverhampton would translate to Epsom. But he did it really well, and he was about 8 lengths behind the leader, Misty Gray, with a furlong to go. But
he was also a rare Woodcut winner who'd only had the one run going into the race. Generally speaking, it's horses have had sort of 2 or 3 runs. It's hard to win that race with so little experience, particularly given how sort of difficult the Epsom track can be for some horses. So that was quite impressive.
So the fact that he's won at Wolverhampton, he's gone to Epsom, a completely different track, and mowed down the leaders there. He was quite impressive, Pinatubo. So I think he looks to tick an awful lot of boxes in that race.
Taking on the O'Brien thing, Lopey Fernandez.
I didn't even want to mention that just because it's got a silly
Yeah,
name.
well, it's obviously like Spanish. What is the Y? I don't know. Maybe it's up there with the apostrophe.
Is it Y or E?
Yeah, it's obviously Fernandez.
And
then we got the Queen Mary, don't we?
Yeah.
I like one for this Liberty Beach for the Quinnyard, because won the Hillary Needler at Beverley recently. Caught the iron debut because she won at Redcar from off the pace, which is never easy to do there. And I did the Racing Post spotlight for the Hillary Needler and sort of spoke to Sean Quinn, assistant trainer and son of trainer John Quinn, prior to the race, and he basically told me she was going to win. He said, I hope you're going to tip her, was his final words to me. Needless to say, she was on the short list, but I went for another one, and she's well backed. I think she was won at 11-2, but had been sort of 7-8-1 the night before. Won with authority, and shades of Signora Cabela, who obviously won the race for the yard last year.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Wesley Ward's won this 3 times. He comes over with Lady Pauline and Anna's Fast, maybe, for this one.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at Anna's Fast yet. I'm not sure what she's capable of. I'm sure she is.
And name's Anna.
Everybody saw what Lady Pauline did in her debut. She looked brilliant, but she was rather exposed here last time out, and she wouldn't be for me. She could improve and be something special, but not for me. Chasing Dreams towards the top of the market as well. She's quite a raw filly by Star Spangled Banner, and she was wearing a hood on her debut at Newmarket. She went off a really short price, but to look at her, she didn't look much. But she looked really talented on the track. She produced a very good speed figure. I think she's probably the one they have to beat.
Another Charlie Appleby. I think he's going to have a good Royal Ascot. Yeah? He's got
a good stable of horses there, so it wouldn't surprise me if she was one of his winners. It'd be interesting to see how she comes on from that Newmarket race. Another one to take a close look at there would be Raffle Prize, who bolted up at Chester last time out for Mark Johnston, so that one would have a decent chance as well. So just a few there to mention in the juvenile races.
Yeah, definitely.
My main fancy would be Sunday Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Quick mention for Gildsman for Archie Watson, who won impressively on debut at Goodwood recently.
In what race? The Queen Mary?
No. One of the others. And
Get it on your tracker, your GG alert.
Just remember, exactly.
There's one more as well. The Albany Stakes on Friday. Aidan O'Brien's Etoile. She's an absolutely gorgeous looking filly. She was pitched into listed company in her debut. She went off at 12-1 against a bunch of experienced rivals under Shamie Heffernan. The party pooper, second string party pooper, isn't he?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, she was really stylish that day at Naas, and she just
name again?
Etoile.
I just love you saying.
Beautiful name.
Yeah, we should mention the anti-post favourite for that race, the Albany, which is Neabeth for Wesley Ward, and of his team. This is meant to be one of his better chances, and the clock watchers in the States are going crazy for this one.
Breathing Fire, I heard.
Apparently.
It is, definitely.
What's better than Breathing Fire?
What's
Answers
better
on
than
a postcard,
Breathing Fire?
What's the next stage up?
Ice.
Ice. I mean,
I went the other way.
It could be.
Another one would be interesting one. He's probably towards the top of the market for the Windsor Castle on Wednesday. Is Bombproof for Jeremy Nacida, who's obviously given up the training ranks at the end of the season, but he won really well at York. The form of that race has worked out really well with Minuski and Summer's Hand winning well since, so that form has worked out really well for Bombproof, so interested to see.
Great name for the tipsters as well, that surely, isn't it?
And with Jeremy Nazida having a reputation for landing one or two high-profile Royal Ascot gambles in the past, Laddie's Poker too, obviously in the Wokingham several years ago. There's a few people who think he's probably sort of like laid one out for his retirement.
Yes, I was going to say
Cenotaph possibly in the Royal Hunt Cup. That'd be interesting.
A lovely story. We love stories here, don't we? In the racing world, that could be a lovely story. Anything else, Andrew, for the juveniles?
Not for 2-year-olds. I tend to concentrate on the older horses and those with more experience.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. Well, that sums up the juvenile races, and don't forget to get on and get paid.